Hey everyone, sorry about the lighting in here. I don't really have a great space to do a video. I'm thinking I need to create one, but this video is a how to create your mini succulent wreath. So we start out, we have a 6-inch grapevine wreath. There's two sides. You can check out there. It doesn't matter what side you use, so look at it and determine which side you want to be the front, which side you want to be the back. You need a hot glue gun. You've got your moss, you've got your wreath, and you've got your succulents, your mini succulents. So these are all succulents that some of them I got from a friend who grows and sells these mini succulents, but the larger rosette ones are from my own succulents that have been kind of trying to grow over the winter, but it's really fun. You can just snip them off. When we do glue them, you don't want to glue the whole stem because you want to leave space for the roots to grow. And if you want to take it apart and plant these in some dirt, you'll be able to do that. Especially when the winter comes along, or if you just feel like they're drying out after a little while. So let's get started. So decide which side you want to use. I kind of like mine to be a little off center, so I'm going to use this as my front. And I'm not going to put a hanger on these. I think you can just simply put a nail. These will hang from a nail, but if you want to wrap a little wire around the back, you can do that first before you get started, just so you don't squish the succulents afterwards. Anyway, so the first thing we're going to do is take our Spanish moss, and we're going to just kind of, you'll get it in a clump, and you're just going to kind of scrunch it together, see how you want it to look. If you have a lot of like interesting stuff going on in your grapevine wreath, you might want that to show and then maybe hide the plainer part with the moss. So I'm going to, you can do it off center if you like, or right in the middle. I'm going to kind of do mine in the middle. And I just, you can see it's kind of backwards here, but I'm just going to squish it all together. I'm going to take my glue gun and I'm going to put the hot glue, oops, sorry about that, put the hot glue on some of these flat surfaces, and then we're just going to squeeze it takes a little bit to dry, so go ahead and put a healthy amount on some of the, be careful of your fingers, don't touch the hot glue. So you want to just scrunch it, kind of get it in place. Pick up all the loose ends. And then once you kind of look at it and say, yeah, think that looks good, I would go ahead and just kind of reinforce that a little bit. Can you see what I'm doing? Sorry, I forgot it was on video. Just add some glue, squeeze it down. I'm going to let you go ahead and do that. Squeeze it. Be careful, the glue gets very hot, and I don't want you to burn your finger. So it's nice, you can just kind of gather a clump of this. It's pretty dry, and then just squish it in. Next thing we're going to do is determine your like 4 largest succulents. Some of you, they're not huge, but some of them are larger than others. So you want to, these will be your anchor pieces. So then what you're going, I'm just going to lay this down here, so you can kind of see it. So you're going to take one of your anchors and you're going to just kind of gently hold it. If a leaf drops, hey, stick it in some dirt and it might root for you. We're just going to put some of the glue, I don't know if I can do this without burning myself, kind of right, just a little dollop. And then you're going to place, you might want to take a peek and figure out where you want them to go first. But I kind of just hold that. I'm just going to eyeball for now, but you can pre-plan where you want the 4 anchors to go. So then you're just going to hold that down until it reaches the wreath through the moss. If it's just glued onto the moss, it might fall off. And when we're all done, you can go back and reinforce any loose pieces. So I'm just going to continue. I'm going to leave that stem. I'm going to stick this one down in here. And like I said, get it in there, and then we can go back. It just takes a minute for the glue to set. Then we'll take another one. My friend who sells these, she has some pretty colorful succulents. I just have the kind of gray. They're beautiful, gray-green, but she has these really interesting succulents. So I got a bunch from her for this workshop. And I'm sorry that, this whole coronavirus, COVID-19 is going on, so we can't meet in person, but we all have to think outside the box. And I think this is kind of a fun way to do our little project together. So I've got my 4 anchored. And now all you're going to do is fill in with the smaller pieces all along, kind of wherever you want. I like to keep similar ones separate from each other, so you have a little bit of variety going on. Some of these all seem to be a little bit the same size, but the ones in your kit will differ a little more. So I'm just going to keep going on. I like these succulents are so cool. They just are so many different patterns and colors. And you want to hang these in kind of indirect light, like kind of if you have a bright room, but not indirect sun. So you don't want to put them in a window. You want to definitely make sure that, because they're succulents, they do like the sun. And then you're just going to spritz it once a week, spray them. They'll absorb some water through their leaves. They don't need a lot of water. This is Spanish moss, so it's not, it's dried. It's real moss, and it's not treated at all. Here we go. They're actually dried bromeliads or air plants. I don't know if you've seen like the Spanish moss that hangs down south, but that's what this is. It's just dried. It's just dried and beautiful. It has a great texture, and I like to let it hang down. I don't like that one there. When you're done, you can definitely pull some pieces. You can tell I've never done this before, sorry. Have some tendrils hanging down. So here we go. We're just continuing. Some I have little tiny ones. This will make a great Mother's Day gift, or little Easter gift. But here we go. Let's see how it's starting to fill in. And you can tip it so it's on the side, or you can just do it on the middle. I got this idea because at Christmas time I had some air plants, and I sold some air plant wreaths with these little grapevine wreaths that I found. So they looked like this, but I put like a red ribbon under it, so those are really pretty. These I sell at the co-op, just with the Spanish moss and the wreath, the air plant, and they will be on my Etsy shop as well, so that's fun. Air plants are super easy like succulents. You do have to spritz them, or soak them. They are living, they get their nutrients from the water. So you don't really want to use, if your water is really chlorinated or, I'm running out of glue here. You shouldn't use filtered water. Distilled water. A lot of people use distilled water for their plants, just to keep any chemicals or the hard water out. But I don't think the distilled water has a lot of nutrients. So you do want to make sure you use fertilizer. I have not had any trouble up where I live with my water and my plants, so I just use tap water. I fertilize. This is the time to start fertilizing your plants as well. In these guys, you probably don't need to fertilize. But here is my finished product. I ran out of glue, so make sure you have an extra glue stick nearby. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have fun filling your day or your hour or with this beautiful little craft project. Thanks, and I am going to do a video for my moss terrarium as well, so thanks for tuning in, and thanks for purchasing my succulent mini wreath kit.